down. By the way, if you're in an area where the power has perhaps been intermittent because of the storm and you would like to keep in contact with us and find out the latest on Hurricane Elena, keep in mind that you can listen to us also on WABB AM and FM. AM is 1480, FM is 97.5 on your FM dial, so throughout the night we will be simulcasting, broadcasting as well on radio and on TV, so you can keep up to date on Hurricane Elena. Ed Heiland is in the middle of the storm right now in Pensacola at our Florida Bureau. Ed, last time we checked with you there was a lot of wind but not so much rain. How about now?
The rain has started to come up just a little bit, Bob. It is, as you can see, starting to pelt me just a little bit, but it has not been that heavy, and it's about to change even as I speak. The winds you mentioned have picked up also considerably. We have had many reports of tornadoes in the area, but we also have been fortunate in that there are no reports of those tornadoes touching down and causing any damage. We do have massive power outages, though, in the 9th Avenue area, east of 9th Avenue, and also south of Cervantes. All of that area of Pensacola, the city proper, is out of power at this time. Gulf Power is getting about 250 calls an hour from people wanting to get their power back on. Obviously, there's not a whole lot the power company can do until some of this wind dies down, and we're hoping that will happen soon. The highest winds at this point that have been recorded are registered at 68 miles an hour. Now, of course, that's the official reading. In some areas, there may have been some higher gusts. So at this point in time, it does seem to be intensifying somewhat, although it is not what I would consider extremely life-threatening. But obviously, I'm here at the Bureau, which is offering me some protection. The waves of the Gulf have kicked up considerably. There is more water coming into the beach area, so we have been told. So that area, of course, is much more susceptible to damage. And we'll try and get some information from those areas to relay back to you a little later, Bob.
All right, thank you, Ed. Keep safe. Bill Evans is waiting in our weather office right now at the latest on the hurricane. Is the worst over for Pensacola, or they still have a lot more to go?
Bob, they're just getting a taste of what is going to be happening through the rest of this evening. Let's first look at the radar, and we'll show you that there are actually thunder showers that are just on the leading edge of that storm through Perdido Key, Escambia Bay, Pensacola Bay. That's just the edge of that storm. Ground clutter around the Mobile radar site, but you can see rain now all over Pensacola, some of it light to moderate with gusty winds, and you can see that's just a piece of the storm. That's really not hardly anything of any major significance as far as the storm's landfall, but that's enough to really create some problems. 68-mile-an-hour winds are quite tough, and it will spawn tornadoes, numerous tornadoes, all night long. The TV10 computer tonight shows us a graphic of a hurricane. The inside, it's like taking a hurricane, slicing it in half, and we find the spiral bands or the feeder bands are the areas where the thunderstorms are the most intense. In the northeastern section, they're right around the eye. High altitude winds, and the storm continues that counterclockwise circulation, and that is the most important part of the storm because it's a warm core type of system that has to have that spinning motion. When it loses that and it loses the eye, then you know that it is losing its strength also. Now here's the path of Elena from its very beginning as a tropical depression all the way across the western edge of Cuba into the Gulf, and you can see it takes that due right turn towards Cedar Key, Florida, the Tampa-St. Pete area. Then it cuts back to the northwest, headed toward Apalachicola. Now it's past there, headed toward Pensacola. The first hurricane of its kind to pull a stunt like that, if you must say, and continue in a manner like that, zigzagging across the Gulf. Here is a path of the storm by satellite. You can see it working its way as a tropical storm headed toward Mobile on Thursday. Here's how it looked on Friday. Still heading toward Mobile, still compressing itself, gaining in size and intensity. But then later in the afternoon, you can see right there in the last couple of pictures, it begins moving toward the northeast, and the storm zigzags toward northern Florida. Through the day on Saturday, here's how the storm progressed toward Cedar Key, Florida, and it picks up an eye right there in the last frame, and it looks like it's going to take on northern Florida, and you can see over Alabama and Mississippi and northwest Florida, the sky is clear. It was a beautiful day yesterday as well as the first part of the day. But early this morning, the storm at 5 a.m. forms an eye, and it continues back toward the northwest, headed toward Mobile, Pensacola, northwest Florida, Panama City, Apalachicola, making things quite tough. And the storm now is still continuing in that line toward Mobile, Baldwin County, northwest Florida, making things tough for all our Gulf Coast residents. Here's the longitude and latitude if you're keeping a tracking chart. 29.6 degrees north latitude, longitude 86.7 degrees west. The important statistics are the winds are still 125 miles per hour near the center and in the northeastern semicircle. Movement is to the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour, and the barometer inside the storm itself is still holding quite steady. So you could see by the radar and the satellite pictures that the storm is still continuing toward the northwest. It is still battering the shores of our beautiful Gulf Coast, where there will be much beach erosion through tonight and tomorrow, as it's constant pounding of the beaches. And of course the bay is going to increase. The sea should be around 12 feet later tonight, and lots more rain will be moving in, up to 10 inches of rainfall still expected with this storm. So of course in Mobile County we haven't had any effects of it yet. A little in central and southern Baldwin County and northwest Florida, Bob, right now is taking quite a battering there, and the folks there are going to get more wind, and they're going to get more rain, and it'll continue for a long time, at least until lunchtime tomorrow.
We had a story come down our wire from New Orleans Mayor Ernest Morial, who believes that the storm is going to head right for New Orleans. Does he have anything to base that on?
I believe that he does. Let's take one more look at the computer, if we shall. And that storm is continuing toward the northwest. Now, the last computer projections show that storm still continuing in a northwest line that will take it toward New Orleans, toward the Mississippi coast. And it will also, if I'll show you here on the TV10 computer, in a line such as this. Here is the center, and the storm will continue from the eye toward New Orleans. It's moving, if you keep a compass handy, it's moving at 290 degrees northwest, and that is the direction it is taking right now. And that will give our coast about all it would want to handle from a hurricane. Winds would exceed hurricane status. That's 75 miles an hour, of course, and still the seas are going to rise around 10 feet. So if we get that much, we're still going to get power outages. We're going to get at least 7 to 8 inches of rain. Seas are going to push in a tide of around 10 feet. And still the storm will go to New Orleans, where the eye will hit, and it will cause great damage in New Orleans. As you know, the city is flat there, built on marshland. They bulkheaded up around the Mississippi River and the Gulf and built the city of New Orleans. So it will flood just about the same as Mobile does when there's lots of flash flooding. So there will be problems for residents in New Orleans as well as along our Gulf Coast just by getting the skirting edge of this hurricane.
So just because we hear reports that it may be heading to New Orleans doesn't mean that we're in the clear, not at all.
By no means does it mean leave the shelter, now let's go home, we'll sack up the bats, and that'll be the end of the problem. The storm itself will continue. That northeastern side is always the toughest, so we're going to have lots of problems tonight. By no means are we out of the woods yet. There's going to be a lot of rain, and there's going to be a lot of debris from all the winds that are going to be skirting across tonight.
All right, thanks, Bill. Let's go now to Carolyn Martin, who's standing by at Theodore High School, which is one of the shelters in Mobile County, and I understand it's very crowded there.
Yes, Bob, this is the largest evacuation shelter here in the county, and about a half an hour ago they turned the lights out here in an effort to get people to calm down. We were in the gym earlier tonight. Now we've moved out into the lobby, and you can see the line of people behind me. These people are standing in line to get coffee, so although they would like everyone to try to get some rest and calm down, that may be easier said than done tonight. These people are nervous about this storm. They don't know what to expect. They don't know if this new high school will hold up or not. They certainly hope that it will. Right now we have 1,500 people at this shelter, and that's at capacity. Although the Red Cross will not turn anyone away, they are asking that anyone in South Mobile County who is still intending to go to a shelter, not to come here, but to go to Burroughs Elementary School on Burroughs Lane here in Theodore. So at this time, Bob, we are all 1,500 of us, we're here, we're waiting for Elena like everyone else.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Well, just to wrap up, Hurricane Elena continues her path, 125-mile-an-hour winds heading to the west-northwest. We will keep you posted throughout the night here on TV10 and also on the radio on WABB AM 1480 and FM 97. So in case your electricity goes out and you can't watch us on TV anymore, you can always tune us in on the radio. We'll be on every half hour and hour and perhaps even more if conditions warrant. I'm Bob Grip. We'll have our next update at 1 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Grip with some updated information about Hurricane Elena. There is something brand new out, some brand new information. The Mobile County officials and the state of Alabama have issued a mandatory evacuation order for the following areas. This is brand new. Areas along East and West Fowl River, Deer River, Bell Fountain and Hollinger's Island adjacent to Mobile Bay, Dog River, and other areas east of I-65 that border Mobile Bay, including Bayou Sarah, Gunnison Creek, Chickasaw Creek, and the Blackjack area. I'll go over that one more time since this is something brand new just out from the emergency officials. This is a mandatory evacuation order. If you live in any of the following areas, you must leave those areas right now. Areas along East and West Fowl River, Deer River, Bell Fountain and Hollinger's Island adjacent to Mobile Bay, Dog River, and other areas east of I-65 that border the bay. That includes Bayou Sarah, Gunnison Creek, Chickasaw Creek, and the Blackjack area. Now, there is plenty of room in shelters in Mobile County. There is some concern about storm surge moving up the Mobile River into the low-lying areas near the bay. That's why the state and local officials want people out of the low-lying areas right now. Don't wait until dawn. It may be too late. As you can probably tell, since I'm outside the studios right now, it is a little bit windy. I'm beginning to feel a little bit of rain. The streets are deserted. They should be. Everybody should be inside in a shelter. Bill Evans has the latest on what the hurricane is doing right off the coast. Bill?
Bob, looks like some of those winds are getting to you there. Those winds are beginning to push in from the northeast, and that is why lots of water is always expected in the Dog River area, Fowl River, because the northeast winds will push more water into that area. Of course, Dogwood, right there around the marina, always gets flooded this time of the year. Now, let's take a look at the satellite first, and we'll show you the storm as it continues to the northwest, 10 miles per hour. And here are the statistics once again. Winds at 125 miles per hour still in Hurricane Elena. The movement is to the west-northwest still at 290 degrees on the compass. 290 degrees west-northwest, 12 miles per hour, and the barometer is still holding steady. So, Bob, things as far as the storm is concerned, it is still moving to the northwest. It's bringing lots of rain to northwest Florida, where I understand Ed Heiland is right now.
I am standing by, yes, in the rain, and we are getting rained on rather tremendously right at the moment. The storm definitely is just off the coast of Pensacola. It has intensified. This is the worst we have seen it in the last hour or so. At this point, we still have no reports of the winds gusting above the minimum hurricane level, which is 75 miles per hour. Last we heard was about 68 miles per hour. But as you can see, the rains have increased tremendously. And what they're starting to worry about now is the other side of the hurricane. When the wind, or the eye of the storm passes us within the next hour or so, the winds are going to totally change direction and go the other way. What they're worried about is obviously that storm surge that comes with the change in the winds. That storm surge is right now predicted between 8 and 12 feet. That would be the most damaging to the Pensacola area. For those of you who are not familiar with our Florida Bureau, we are right in the heart of downtown Pensacola, so we do know exactly what is going on, just a few blocks from the waterfront. Seville Quarter is immediately behind me, but as you can probably see, or perhaps possibly see, we have not lost power in the downtown area. This is one of the evacuation zones, one of the first places you would think power would be lost. Fortunately for us, we've been able to stay on the air. Other parts of Pensacola have not been so lucky, though. There are widespread power outages and many downed power lines. Obviously, the place to be right now is in some type of shelter, which is where I'm going to go right now. Bob?
All right, thanks, Ed. We have an update on just what Ed was experiencing. Winds along the coast near Pensacola were gusting near 60 miles an hour a short time ago. Tides are already running 8 to 12 feet above normal, and there were a number of power outages in the Pensacola area. Fortunately, Ed is not in the middle of one of them. In Walton County, they're reporting moderate to heavy rain with winds 45 to 55 miles an hour. In Okaloosa County, reports that winds were too high to go outside to check the tides. That's pretty high. Santa Rosa County reported winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. Due to the strong northeasterly winds, tides in both rivers and bays were 2 feet above normal. And right now, the National Weather Service believes that Elena may pass 35 to 40 miles south of Pensacola. Bill, can you tell us any more?
Bob, the storm itself is about 45 miles to the southeast of Pensacola, Florida. Let's go to the radar, and we'll show you that system now as it's bringing heavy rain right along southern Escambia, Santa Rosa, also Walton, Okaloosa counties of Florida. The beach areas are really taking a slashing right now. Baldwin County is picking up some rain from Loxley all the way down to Gulf Shores. You can see Mobile Bay is picking up some rain now as the storm is 45 miles south of Pensacola. The eye there you see, which is 50 nautical miles in diameter. It is moving to the northwest at about 10 to 12 to sometimes 15 miles per hour. It's moving at 290 degrees to the northwest. If you have a compass, 290 degrees to the northwest direction at about 12 miles per hour. So the storm will continue to batter Baldwin, Mobile County, northwest Florida, where it is terrible right now. It will continue to do that through most of the night. The storm headed toward New Orleans, could land between New Orleans and Biloxi, Mississippi, give or take a few miles. Bob?
Thank you, Bill. We will continue to stay right in the middle of this storm for you, and all the wind and the rain, we're going to bring it all to you. Remember, if you're in an area that loses power and you lose power to your TV set, you can always tune into WABB-AM at 1480 or WABB-FM at FM 97.5 on your FM dial, and you can keep up with all our updates. We'll continue to do them on the hour and on the half hour more frequently if necessary. Whenever we get new information, we'll pass it along to you. But you can be sure that you'll find us on the hour and half hour, either here on TV 10 or on WABB AM and FM. Now let's go back to the Jerry Lewis Labor Day Telethon. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Grip with a Hurricane Elena update. The wind is beginning to gust here in downtown Mobile just a little bit in front of the Admiral Sims Hotel on Government Street. And because of those wind gusts and the possibility of a storm surge accompanying Hurricane Elena, there is the possibility of flooding in low-lying areas such as the downtown area. That's why Mobile County officials and the state have placed a mandatory evacuation order on the following areas. If you live in one of the areas that I'm about to read, you must leave right now. Areas along East and West Fowl River, along Deer River, Bell Fountain, and Hollinger's Island, adjacent to Mobile Bay, Dog River, and other areas east of I-65 that border Mobile Bay, such as Bayou Sarah, Gunnison Creek, Chickasabogue Creek, and the Blackjack area. Now, there is plenty of room in most of the shelters in Mobile County if you live in one of those evacuation areas. However, there are some which are full. I'll tell you which ones are full. Baker High School is full right now. Don't go there if you need shelter. Also, the Government Street Baptist Church is full, Bayou-La-Batterie Community Center is full, and the Salvation Army on Dauphin Street is full. However, they have added a shelter. Wilmer First Baptist Church is now open. The Wilmer First Baptist Church is open as a shelter if you need it, if you're in one of those areas where you must leave. Carolyn Martin is standing by at Theodore High School, where many people are there. They say they are not going to turn anybody away, but it is getting kind of crowded. Right, Carolyn?
Yes, Bob. Actually, we are officially right now over capacity. The school is supposed to only hold about 1,500 evacuees, and right now we have 1,600 here, and people are continuing to come in. Things are not getting very quiet around here. People are excited about this storm. With me right now is Ann Masinski, who's sort of in charge of things here with the Red Cross. And right now, these new areas in South Mobile County that have been evacuated, where should those people go at? You won't turn them away here, but it could be a problem, huh?
Right. We have a couple schools that have just opened up. Here's a list of those. Burroughs School, Saraland Elementary, May Eanes Middle School, Baker Elementary School, and Castleton School in Grand Bay. Those are the ones that are opening up, and they have plenty of room. People should try to get to these areas because we are at capacity. We won't turn people away, but we have more than enough people right now.
How about the supply situation here?
Right now we're holding up real well. We have enough food, at least for 2 meals tomorrow. We still want people to bring some with them if they can, but we got enough supplies right now.
I understand you just got off the phone with the other shelters across the county. How many people at this hour right now are in shelters?
We have over 7,000 people in Red Cross shelters across the county right now, and they're still coming in really strong.
Okay. And as we said before, Bob, out of those 7,000 people, we have about 1,600 here, and they're still coming in the door. Again, people are very nervous about this storm. Evidently, everyone here learned from Frederick in 1979, and they aren't taking any chances, but it is beginning to get very crowded here. Also, what they're going to have to do, they have people in the gym, and they have people in the cafeteria here, and when the wind starts getting very rough, whenever that happens later on this morning, they're going to have to move the people from the cafeteria into the hallways because the cafeteria, of course, has a lot of glass in it. So it's going to be a very long night here for Ann and all of us, all 1,600 of us here at this shelter. Bob?
All right, thank you, Carolyn. It's also beginning to get windy. There are gusts of wind here in downtown Mobile, and every once in a while we get a sprinkle of rain, but not too much. Bill Evans is here to tell us more about the kind of weather we can expect in the next couple of hours. Bill?
Bob, those wind gusts you're experiencing right there on Government Street are 40 miles per hour now. Reports from Dauphin Island at the Sea Lab show the winds to be around 50 to 52. Let's take a look at the radar, and we'll show you that the storm is continuing to the west-northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Here's the radar, and you can see the little yellow area in the northern center and to the west of the eye. That is the eye there that you see in the center. The blue, of course, is the center, and that is the eye of the storm. Heavy rains across Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Shalimar, Florida, Mariester, all the way across the beach there to Pensacola, across the Scambia Bay, Pensacola Bay, Perdido Key, Perdido Bay, Gulf Shores, Baldwin County there. And there is ground clutter mostly around the Mobile site, but there are gusty winds blowing lots of high seas toward the western section of Mobile Bay. And that, of course, is being experienced also as Scambia Bay, Perdido Bay, and Pensacola Bay there on the western sides because winds are coming in from due east from the storm, from the north-northeast, and the winds are getting higher as the storm progresses to the northwest. Let's take a look at the weather computer now. And this satellite radar pictures from just a few minutes ago. And the trek of the storm is more or less, here of course is the center, but the trek of the storm now is really toward New Orleans, Louisiana, about right in there. And that storm continues at 10 miles per hour in that direction and will continue in that direction for the next 12-hour period. Now, some new coordinates, some updated material will be coming out in about, let's say 25 minutes from now from the Hurricane Center in Miami, and we'll get new coordinates, plus we'll get a new report on how the storm is doing. But the winds are still at 125 miles per hour. It is still moving to the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. If you have a compass, it is moving at 290 degrees to the northwest, which would take it toward New Orleans. And still, even though the storm is going toward New Orleans and the Pontchartrain area, we'll still get lots of gusty winds. We'll get seas around 10 feet in some areas of the extreme coastal sections. Winds are going to be around hurricane force, as they should be in Pensacola in just a few minutes. So they should probably be experiencing some 75-mile-an-hour winds. And, of course, the seas are going to be quite high, and that will cause massive beach erosion. Now, let's go to Bob Grip, who is out on Government Street. Bob?
That's right, Bill. We were hoping to get a live report from Ed Heiland in Pensacola, but apparently the winds are too much. We can't get a signal out of Pensacola right now. We will keep trying, however. Let's go over those evacuation notices once again as the winds continue to pick up here in downtown Mobile. The following areas have been mandatory evacuation areas. They've been declared mandatory evacuation areas. If you're in them right now, leave. Areas along East and West Fowl River, Deer River, Bell Fountain and Hollinger's Island adjacent to Mobile Bay, Dog River, and other areas east of I-65 that border down on the bay. That includes Bayou Sarah, Gunnison Creek, Chickasaw Creek, and the Blackjack area. There is plenty of room in many of the shelters around Mobile County. Keep in mind also we are going to be here every hour and half hour bringing you up to date on the latest on the hurricane. If you're in an area that happens to lose electrical power, and we're beginning to get reports of spotty outages here and there and everywhere, tune in to WABB AM 1480 or WABB FM 97. We're going to be simulcasting. You'll be able to hear us on the radio all night long as it takes until the storm, wherever it goes. If it goes to New Orleans, that's fine. They can keep it. But we don't want it to come in this area. We'll bring you up to date with those brand new coordinates in about 20 minutes at 2 o'clock. I'm Bob Grip. Back to the Jerry Lewis Labor Day Telethon. Good morning, everyone. It's 2 o'clock, time for another Hurricane Elena update. I'm Bob Grip. Every time I come out here, the wind seems to gust a little bit more, and there seems to be a little bit of rain. We have some brand new coordinates on the hurricane, which apparently is just off the coast of Gulf Shores, about maybe 35 miles out into the Gulf. Is that right, Bill?
That's exactly right, Bob. The new coordinates are in, and more importantly, some new information that is going to help us forecast landfall of the center of the storm. Now, that is important that we forecast where the exact center of the storm is going to make landfall, because that is where the highest winds are and the highest seas. Let's take a look at the satellite picture first tonight, and we'll show you the storm on a close-up satellite picture, where the storm now is about 80 miles from the southeast of Mobile, and the storm is moving its way to the northwest at about approximately 12 miles per hour. The storm is expected to continue in that path and move right in here, as forecasts indicate right now, in between the Mississippi River and Mobile Bay. The storm is veering to the northwest a little more this past couple of hours since the midnight or the 11 o'clock information from the Miami Hurricane Center. Here are the latest coordinates. It's at latitude 29.7 degrees north, longitude 87.2 degrees west. It is 80 miles southeast of Mobile. Winds are still at 125 miles per hour, gusting to 135 in the northeastern semicircle. Hurricane-force winds are already along the northwest Florida coastline in Pensacola. It is quite rough there. And right there, Gulf Shores, hurricane-force winds are being felt there now, and the winds are coming across Mobile Bay and picking up with lots of rain. Movement is to the northwest-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Barometer in the center of the storm is still holding steady at 28.08. And let's look at the local radar, and we'll show you their thunder showers still continuing. There's the eye of the storm, 80 miles to the southeast of Mobile. Heavy rain over Pensacola, Escambia, Pensacola Bay, Escambia, Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, and Walton counties, and it is quite rough at Destin, Shalimar, Florida, and it continues to be that way tonight, where power outages are all over the Pensacola area now, and even into Baldwin County. The barometer around Baldwin County is at 29.5 and 29.4 last reports. The rain now is extending across the bay there and extending across to Biola Battery, to Dolphin Island, where last wind reports the Sea-Lab were around 53 miles per hour, and some gusts even higher, and even some gusts we've received from the island have been around hurricane strength, around 75 miles per hour. The eye of the storm moving northwest toward Biloxi. So the center will make landfall right around Biloxi in between Mobile Bay and Mississippi River. If you want to know where Mississippi River is on this map, it is the line of Mississippi there just north of New Orleans. That's where the Mississippi River is. The mouth of the Mississippi, of course, is at New Orleans, emptying into the Pontchartrain. So the Mississippi there at the boot heel, that's the Mississippi River. In between Mobile Bay and there is where expected landfall of the center of the storm is in about 3 hours. So things are really going to pick up here, and it's imperative, Bob, that everyone stay tuned to the News 10. Should your power go out, put it on WABB FM 97 and, of course, WABB AM 1480. Bob?
Well, things have begun to pick up out here. I can tell you every once in a while there's a wind gust that's almost good enough to blow me right out of the picture. But we do have some reports of other bad weather around the area. Funnel cloud was spotted at Loxley earlier today. There are power outages also in Mobile County as well. 8 Mile is on emergency power. Theodore, they have some power, then and again, then it goes off. In Gulf Shores, we have reports of 60-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 70. In Lillian, there are reports of no power as of 12:30, sustained winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour in Fairhope. They still have some power with light rain, wind gusting to 30 to 40 miles an hour. In Foley, sustained winds of 40 to 45 miles an hour, no rain. Power is intermittent there. Now, there are also some word on shelters. There's another shelter that is full. The Satsuma High School is full. However, Saraland Elementary and the Saraland Civic Center have opened as shelters. Once again, keep in mind we are going to be here every hour and half hour. We also have Carolyn Martin standing by at Theodore High School, and she's going to bring us up to date on a school that is, I guess, over capacity now, I believe you said last time, and you still haven't turned back any people, have you?
No, Bob, that's the policy of the Red Cross. They do not turn people away. They just urge them to stop coming to this school. At Theodore right now, we are at 1,600 and counting. This school is only supposed to hold 1,500 people as an evacuation center. As you can see behind me there, some people are still checking in at that table back there. And the other people that you see in line are in line for coffee. It's been a very popular place to be tonight. Although this shelter is above capacity at this hour, we do have a list from the Red Cross of the open shelters at this hour. These shelters are accepting people. Burroughs Elementary School, Saraland Elementary School, Mayines Middle School, Baker Elementary, and Castlin School in Grand Bay. The Red Cross is reporting at this hour that there are now over 7,000 people in shelters in Mobile County. Again, we have 1,600 here in Theodore, and as you can see behind me, they are still continuing to come in. The Red Cross is also putting out an alert to any nurse volunteers. They say they need them to check into these shelters. But at this point, Bob, we are almost all of us awake and waiting for Elena to come in. People are getting kind of antsy, getting tired, but they're awake.
Carolyn, what is the weather like down there? You're actually a little bit closer to the storm than we are here in downtown Mobile. What's it like in Theodore?
Well, right now it's blowing around out there a little bit, but it's not doing anything major, nothing to upset anybody. A lot of people are standing outside in the weather just to be outside because it's very crowded. They've turned the lights off in the gym, trying to get people to sleep. And here in the lobby, as you can see, a lot of people are milling around. So it's really not that bad. People keep coming up and asking us, where is it? When's it going to hit? And of course, you know, we're waiting on it just like everybody else. I might say that the Public Works Department has 7 different crews here. They're here with their heavy machinery, and they're here just in case trees fall down into the roads once the storm hits. The crews tell me that they're here because this is a public shelter, and they want to be able to clear those roads so people can get in and get out of the shelter.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Just a reminder, we will be here on the hour and half hour throughout the night, however long it takes until the hurricane finally goes away. And those of you who are also, if you happen to lose power, you can tune into WABB AM and FM so you can at least hear what we have to say. I understand Bill has an update. Bill, tell us more.
Bob, I just wanted to show you one lasting picture from the Pensacola radar that we just received, and we'll go to that, and we'll show you the storm itself now from the Pensacola radar. And you can see the edge of rainfall that is moving now into Mobile County. Just about all of Baldwin County has rain now. The yellow areas that you see, we'll try and get a little bit closer to the eye of the storm and show you there's really moderate to heavy thunder showers inside of that storm. We'll take a closer look around the Mobile area, and we'll show you the rainfall is moving toward Mobile now. And Bob, in just a few minutes, you'll be experiencing rain right here in downtown Mobile and gusty winds. Gale force winds, of course, already at Dauphin Island and at Gulf Shores, and the storm itself is moving to the northwest. at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Now, for those of you who look intently at radars, let me give you one word of note. Hurricanes are called warm core systems. They're not like the normal thunderstorms that we show you on the TV-10 radar. In thunderstorms, they have what are called cold cores, and of course the thunderstorms billow way into the atmosphere. We look at them during the summertime often, but they're cold because the caps go way up into the atmosphere where it's cold, and they appear on the radar red. You don't see much red on the radar with this hurricane, but don't be fooled by that, because hurricanes are warm systems, and they're not cold on the top, and they don't billow up 50, 60,000 feet like some thunderstorms do. They mainly stay around 20 to 30 to 40,000 feet in most areas, but believe me, there is torrential rains there, zero visibility, 10 inches of rain, and it will continue for some time as all of that rain in that storm stretches out 150 miles. So don't be fooled that it's moderate to light rain activity, and don't be fooled that it's not coming to Mobile, because it certainly is, and there's going to be a lot of it tonight. Bob?
All right, thank you, Bill. We'll have our next regularly scheduled update at 2:30, where we'll bring you all the latest on Hurricane Elena. I'm Bob Grip, the News 10.